Spend so much time getting this money, never realized them the faces of slave owners. Niggas a snake on you, he got shot in the face over slave owners. White people smile in my face, they the children of slave owners. They all fake, I hate them all, stole our history straight from us. Buying designer clothes from families traced back to slave owners. The Jewish man a bitch, they bought the land so we can't own it. They ain't get bought to slavery on no ships, like we ain't noticed. Deuteronomy 28, explain us leaving Cape Coast. Straight folks, they stole our name and our history straight from us. King James was black and Christ was too. Man, they straight bogus, but playing with the chosen's roulette while it's loaded. I pray your days closer, like bang, blow your brains open. The goal is keep us slaves with the paper, putting drugs in the streets to keep us chasing. Yeah, keep the men out the house while their children stay going. Make it war with each other so divisions stay focused. Control the media to make them hate us. If we teach them hate theyself, they'll never make it. Yeah, discriminate them at the job and lock them up for selling drugs. If we keep on teaching hate, they will never learn to love.
They put demons all in our face, rose up idols all in our state, destroyed our mind with all of they talent, all and they piling on what they hate. Now we dying so they've raised to teach us lies with all that they say. That goes from schools to the media, designed to change the way you think and the way you pray, the words you speak and the money you pay for the things you get and the people don't know. So we marry their kids and we change our goals and the things don't grow when the kids get rich. Lose that money and the wife and kids and they start back over. This is a trap for a show, then they sell you music by the trap life. Seem like living in a trap life though. We don't get paid from the money they grow. We get pennies on the dollar, my bro. We get pennies on the dollar, my bro. Sometimes I really wanna holler at my bro. Tell them that we've been played on the low. We still slaves and they still own. We still slaves and they still own us.
The goal is keep us slaves with the paper.
Us.
Putting drugs in the streets to keep us chasing. Yeah, keep the men out the house while their children stay going. Make it war with each other so divisions stay focused. Control the media to make them hate us. If we teach them hate theyself, they'll never make it. Yeah, discriminate them at the job and lock them up for selling drugs. If we keep on teaching hate, they will never learn to love.
We tryna pace where the apes be. Keys like HP, curses live at HD. Women chasing clout and brothers changing their faces. Screaming, oh God, send your son to save us.
So tired of all the pain. See all my people in it. Cause living day to day is hard to face. Know that on that day you can release them chains. So give him all the praise and change. Change gon' come, change gon' come. Rather than the scripts that change gon' come. Change gon' come, change gon' come. Rather than the scripts that change gon' come. You know, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rather than the scripts that change gon' come. You know, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rather than the scripts that change gon' come. Yeah, it's time for a change to come to my people. Cause Lord knows that we ain't treated equal. 400 years of the same old ish. Rape, rob, kill and spoil, getting off the shit. Now check it, can barely wait for that day to come. Getting ready for that war, time to beat the drum. And to the ones trying to hold me back with bent up faces, just call me Master Eddie, trading places.
Change gon' come, and it's coming fast. I know change gon' come, cause this world won't last. I know it's so much hurt, and it's so much pain. But when them cherries come, just know the world gon' tired of lies, that's why we face the east. Pray to your Howard Shai. Cause change gon' come. Prophecy says that change gon' come. Yeah.
So tired of all the pain. See all my people in it. Cause living day to day is hard to face. Know that on that day you can release them chains. So give him all the praise and change. Change don't come, change don't come. Rather than the scripts that change don't come. Change don't come, change don't come. Rather than the scripts that change don't come. You know, change don't come, change don't come. Rather than the scripts that change don't come. You know, change don't come, change don't come. Rather than the scripts that change don't come.
Look, we've been trying to get up out of this, but we've been too busy worshiping some nonsense. Jesus. We want change to happen real quick, but we are stiff-necked people and we don't give a shit. Our women all up on Instagram, shaking and twerking their ass like they don't give a damn. And if we really want change, we gotta open our book and be baptized again. We gotta change.
So tired of all the pain. See all my people in it. Cause living day to day is hard to face. Know that on that day you can release them chains. So give him all the praise and change. Change don't come, change don't come. Rather than the scripts that change don't come. Change don't come, change don't come. Rather than the scripts that change don't come. You know, change don't come, change don't come. Rather than the scripts that change don't come. You know, change don't come, change don't come. Rather than the scripts that change don't come. Change don't come, change don't come. Rather than the scripts that change don't come. You know, change don't come, change don't come. Rather than the scripts that change don't come. You know, change don't come, change don't come. Rather than the scripts that change don't come. You know, change don't come, change don't come. Rather than the scripts that change don't come.
Change don't come, change don't come. Rather than the scripts that change don't come. You know, change don't come, change don't come. Rather than the scripts that change don't come. You know, change don't come, change don't come. Rather than the scripts that change don't come. You know, change don't come, change don't come. Rather than the scripts that change don't come. That change don't come, that change don't come, that change don't come.
All praises to the Most High. And I ain't letting know. Tell the devil it ain't enough. I know what you going through, keep going. I'm sure if they had their way, I've been stopped. See, I can see them from a mile away. They in the cut, know how I play. Never been a fool, won't start the day. Then I'ma play my part. Much is given, much required. I won't let them treat me out my play. Up, I gotta show where I'm from, how they play it hard. Don't know why I thought that it would change. When I came in, it's true. Once you peep the facial loans, then you're cool. The way they play the game, flaw, I never do. Stay in your place, I'm like a paw to these little dudes. And we gon' give most out of praise, he brought me through it. My mind stay like anything we could do it. We putting work up on this faith and we improve. I tried to tell them I ain't new to this. First we did it, now they doing this. Sticking to the manuscript. I let me follow the blueprint. Elohim sending me did not go. Tell my enemies to step it up. Tell the devil it ain't a no. Keep on going on and on and on and on and on. I'm fighting. I'm fighting. I ain't letting no. I'm gonna keep on going on and on and on. It ain't a no. And on. Tell the devil it ain't a no. I'm fighting. Look at all that we done been through. We done overcame all that they pretend to. We don't fold, we don't bend. We knew in due time we would overcome. It's like a jungle sometimes. It made me wonder how I keep from going on. Can't experience, I don't worry. Most I said look up at the birds, think about it. Call them bird brain, but somehow they maintain. If I do that for them, if for you, don't you think I'ma do the same thing or more? Gratitude, grateful. He said no one gotta support you, I separate. Get two, walk together, let's stay agree. Be the hand, I be the knee. Don't matter to me, get on your job, no indeed. Don't wanna hear your sob story, no indeed. Teach you how to live this life for peace. Take the choice, blessings and curses. You know we in the week, and you can't stand next to me if you pretend. For the 12, we endure to the end. Go. I'm Going on and on and on and on and on. I'm fine, yeah. I'm fine, yeah. Let's go. It's your 4104, man. Get my lad, bro. I'ma leave it all here. I'll pray.
It's a CZ beat.
My water straight from the throne. We built the altar with the unhewn stones. Roam through the city, all we see is these bones. So my face like flint till I wake a couple souls. A prophet hated by his own, so the father sent his son to bring the tribes of Jacob home. Jumping through these traps, cause they trying to see us gone. But we walking through the fire just like Daniel and his bros. From every sheep to her zone, we stay inside the book because the book is all we own. Heritage and you better hold it on. We like David fighting giants with no armor and a stone. We face east as a car home. We face east just to call home. We can't sleep till we all home. We won't rest till they all gone. So I guess that we be calling out they all bones. Bless the seed, invest the deep in the laws of our God. Make us Elohim, Shema, Warapah, all the side the king. Barakatah, Yahweh, and Mashad Nagim. Bless the seed, invest the deep in the laws of our God. Make us Elohim, Shema, Warapah, all the side the king. Barakatah, Yahweh, and Mashad Nagim. From Bereshit to the books in Greek, the dragon took the sheep. Man, the book complete. The father looked for peace, but we shouldn't the beast. Now we up until our power put the hook in cheek. Shema, Yasha Allah, Abanawa, Yahweh, Ahad. He the tower till he give us the power of God. Though in the tower you will never devour a tribe. The Lord despised all you devils, your hours arrive. Bless the seed that kept the peace. Never forgot the poor and he kept the feast. We trying to dodge destruction, they can't stop the seed. Barakatah, Yahweh, and Mashad Nagim. Bless the seed that kept the peace. Never forgot the poor and he kept the feast. Trying to dodge destruction, they can't stop the seed. Barakatah, Yahweh, and Mashad Nagim.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Khan.
Shalom, shalom. Yasha Allah. This is Milk Monday, another Milk Monday, and I am your host or co-host, Brother Knock.
Shalom, Brother Eliel, aka Fiery Gad.
Khan, and we are the Anointed House of Saints. We are coming to you with another fire class, and I hope that everyone is ready for this one because I know that I am. But before we get started, I want to first give honor and all glory and praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Also want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. And before we get started, we're going to go with a few announcements real quick. First and foremost, it's been said, it's almost here. We are now in the month of March. We will be having our first annual Feast of Passover, which will be in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia, on April 3rd through the 10th. So if anyone, and I believe that we have those who have already sent out emails to say that you are attending, we have sent those out. But for those who have not yet, please do email us. If you want to attend from April 3rd to the 10th, you want to attend, please email us at AnointedHOS@gmail.com. The colors for the evening will be royal blue. As you see what we have on us, very similar to a royal blue. Royal blue and gold will be the garment colors for this first annual feast, and we're looking forward to it. We're going to have a great lesson. We're going to have some great food. We're also going to have some entertainment and just have an all-around good time. So we hope that you can join us. Also, for those brothers who may want to put their brick in and come out and do this work with us, we do have prospect classes. Right now, we have one in session, but we will be having one coming up afterwards. So if you are interested in wanting to build your bricks along with us to build this congregation, please send an email out to AnointedHOS@gmail.com. Not to forget also, sisters, we have work for you also. If you want to do some of this work and get in building this kingdom, please do the same thing by sending an email to AnointedHOS@gmail.com. Okay, so before we pass it over, I'm going to do a few shout outs here. Cap, is anything you want to say real quick? Any announcements that maybe
keep going, do you think?
Shout the people
out. Let's get this thing going, man.
All right. Let's get these shout outs going.
Real quick. Salaki. Hey, if you haven't sent your payment in, all right, for Passover, and you sent your emails and all of that, or if I skipped your email and did not send you the response email, please send me another email if I skipped you. I believe I got everybody. If I did not, and you know you RSVP, hit us up, AnointedHOS@gmail.com. If you have gotten that email back, go ahead and start sending them payments in now, please. And other than that, Unity Camp, Charlotte, North Carolina, May the 6th, downtown Charlotte. Be there. Hit us up for the location. Shalom.
That's right. Also, while we on it,
Suge Knight had to pop in to do that, right?
Yeah. Matter of fact, he just made me think of something. For those who are in the Atlanta area, we do the Atlanta camp. We hold. I just want to give you the address of where we hold our camp at. It is, a matter of fact, Cap, you might have the address. I don't have the address on me, but I know if anyone's familiar with the Atlanta area, it will be in Little Five Points, right on the corner of Moreland and Euclid Avenue, is where you will find us pretty much every Sabbath, every Saturday, starting somewhere around 3 or 4 o'clock p.m.
Yeah, right in front of a building or a store called Criminal Records. Look up Criminal Records downtown Atlanta, but literally right in front of Criminal Records.
Absolutely. And with that, let's get with these.
Get them shout out.
Let's get these shout outs going. And we're going to shout out to John Allen. John Allen, Shalom. Welcome, brother. Welcome, brother. Captain Yahawada. Shalom, Cap. Shalom. As always, our sister Joan Gilchrist. Shalom, sis. And we have Natizah. Rock. Shalom, sis. Shalom. Zanaya Israel. Shalom, sis. AHOS Nadiyab. Shalom, brother. Shalom. AHOS Kadash. Shalom, brother. Shalom. AHOS Yaiquab. Shalom, brother. Good to see you. Good to see you. AHOS Captain Judah. As always, Shalom, Shalom, Cap. Captain Shaquat. Shalom, brother. Shalom. We have Sister Charlia. Shalom, sis. Nice to have you here. Let's see. We got GW. Shalom, Shalom. Let's see. We also have Eliaban Judah. Shalom, brother. Good to see you. Shalom. Naphtali. Shalom. Shalom, Naphtali. Let's see. Anyone else? Yes. Yeshaya. Yasharala. Shalom. Shalom. Our good brother AHOS Yawasap, who had a fire class this past Sabbath morning, Bruce. Shalom, brother. Shalom. Let's see who we got. I'm not sure. Malak Yawasap. Shalom. Shalom, brother. Good to see you as always. Michaela Perry. Shalom, sis. Shalom. AHOS Chazakia. Shalom, bro. Let's see. Captain Yonatan. HOS Yonatan. Shalom, Cap. Good to see you. Awakening daughter of Sarah. Shalom, sis. Shalom. Welcome, welcome. Sister Abaya the Humble. Shalom, sis. She just had a graduation. Congratulations again to her. Shalom. Let's see who we got. Shalom, AHOS Shemaiah. Shalom, brother. Shalom, the mighty Kadar Aharon. Shalom, brother. Good to see you. Shalom, Banyamin. Shalom, brother. Ohio. Shalom, brother. Good to see you. Shalom, sister El Issachar. Shalom, sis. Shalom. And shalom, Harry Lewis. All praises. Good to have you here. Nasia, if I'm saying that right, I apologize, but shalom, Nasia TV. And shalom, Dominic Anderson. Shalom, shalom. Glad to have you here. And I think that is it. If I missed anyone, my apologies, but shalom and welcome. And with that, I'm turning it over to Cap Eliel.
All right, y'all. Shalom, shalom. So, of course, we want to start by giving all praise and honor to the Most High Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shai. All right, we're gonna get right into the class today. As y'all see, we got from the thumbnail, from the title, got a little class on the devil himself. Vocab McNuts.
No swag.
No swag Malone. You know, vocal and lonely, whatever you want to call him, right? Vocab Malone. This is Vocab Malone, right? So this is who we're gonna be going over today. Reason why, he just won't stop. Every couple weeks he does a class. Well, I ain't gonna say a class, an interview with a different Christian apologetic, different Christian theologian, different Christian something, right? Where they're basically trying to give the rundown on the Israelites. He's doing it a little different now than what he was doing in the past, right? So I kind of want to give you guys a rundown on what his new avenue is, the type of things that he's saying about people. You know, just kind of get a rundown on vocal and lonely lately, what he's been doing. So I also want to break down, because I know we got new viewership on our new channel. So we haven't done a vocab lesson yet. So also want to go ahead and introduce our new viewers to this dude as well, so that y'all know who he is when y'all hear about him in the community. All right. So it's from Defending Biblical Roots of Christianity, which is ironic because we're going to be doing that today, right? The real roots anyway. And these guys, what they're going to be doing, basically this white guy, I don't know who he is, R.L. Solberg, him and his wife have a prison ministry at the same place in Florida that our brothers, the Light of Zion, right, have. It's Priest Kaham, Priest Shalimar, and the brothers over there at the Light of Zion, they basically do a prison ministry like every Friday, every Saturday up in Florida, right? This dude actually goes to the same prison, and his wife and him do a ministry as well. And he's going to kind of give his take on things he's seen. And that's the main reason why he even asked Vocab to come on the platform in the first place, right? Because he's trying to find a way to counterbalance the things that are being taught to the brothers at the in the prison. He's basically going to let it be known that he's seen the truth, right? The Israelite truth growing a lot in the prison system amongst black and brown people, right? So the big thing was trying to figure out how he can combat it, what type of scriptures he could bring out, what type of history even he could bring out to try to kind of go against what we teach and how we teach, right? So without further ado, let's get into Esau and his antics. Hit the like button.
Souls are in
when y'all come in the building, Baba Cashapp. Let's get it.
hang in the balance in some cases. And how would you define what you called Hebrew Israelites, Hebrew Israelism?
I go with, similar to what you say, Torahism. I do call it Hebrew Israelism. Some secular scholars use the term Black Israelism. I just go with Hebrew Israelism. And the central defining component is this. At the very least, there may be more, but at the very least, folks who are Black Americans are the true genealogical descendants of the ancient Israelites. And that entails certain things. It's theologically, soteriologically, ecclesiastically relevant. Okay. So it has real praxis to it.
Sure. Okay. So we're talking about a sort of racial component to Torahism, where, if I'm hearing you correctly, are you saying that the belief within that?
Hey, Dominic, we don't drink tequila and teach the scriptures, brother. It's juice in a cup, my dude. Calm down, brother.
Within that theology, is that all Americans of African descent are actually part of the tribes, or just some of them?
Well, here's where it gets tricky already, brother.
We're already into it.
In
I do got a cup of tequila for afterwards, though.
in general, the idea is if you came over here, your descendants came over here on a boat, then you're an Israelite.
Okay.
But
first, I want to point out this, right? So, nobody that we teach descendants came over here on a boat. We were taken, right? That was one of the curses, right? That's part of the prophetic nature of why we consider ourselves Israelites based off the curses of Deuteronomy 28. Something else that I want you guys to notice in this video is that they're going to be nonchalant about the way that that they speak on certain things that we bring out. They're going to be nonchalant as far as how they explain the nature of why we believe what we believe, because Vocab understands why. Don't get it twisted. He knows. He's lost enough debates to understand exactly why we he had to ask exactly the questions that he's going to be asking, the way he's going to be answering it. You're going to be able to tell that he knows exactly who we are, what he's talking about, but the way he's going to choose to answer certain questions are going to prove that he's doing it in a way that he doesn't want to seem too he doesn't want to give us too much credit for the things that we know as far as our plight, the things that's been going on with Black America and so on and so forth. I'll put it like that. But y'all will see what I mean in a minute.
As a convenient trump card, they keep in their back pocket that there could be tares sown amongst the Israelites. Usually they use that for apostates and things like that. And so it may be like, we thought you were a Semite, but actually you're a Hamite. Because these folks do not believe they descend from Ham. Their big thing is we descend from Shem. They don't even like the term Semitic. They like the term Shemitic. Okay. And so there is that element. And then it's a question.
Something else to point out, right? It's astounding to white people, right? White people that believe in the Bible, that know about the Table of Nations. It's amazing that they want to call us Ham, and it's astounding to them when we don't want to, accept that title, right? When we feel like we're different than just regular old African people, that's a problem for them. And they're even going to bring that out. The shaggy looking dude, Shaggy and Scooby, both of them looking guy. He's basically going to bring out that he feels we're ashamed of our the great ethnicity that God gave us as, Black Americans, which I would pose the question, what the hell is a Black American? What ethnicity is that? What land can I go to the land of Black America? You know what I'm saying? If there was a Black America, you niggas wouldn't be here, right? So that being the case, there is no place we could go to, right? So there's nothing to be ashamed of. You feel me? We don't have an identity to be ashamed of. That's the problem. But we'll get to that when we get to that.
With each individual Hebrew Israelite, who else do they include? Because I remember I said at least. So some would include a lot of people on the continent of Africa. Others would say no, but they would include a lot of people in the Western Hemisphere. Okay. So it depends what kind of Israelite they are, who they decide to include in their group that always includes them.
Okay. So is this it's not a monolithic movement? There's lots of different belief systems within.
Yeah. There's no Vatican City. There's no Pope. And it definitely is something that breeds and lends itself to a DIY situation. And that's why it is surpassing the Nation of Islam as the biggest alternative urban spirituality.
Wow.
And now you know why Farrakhan and 19 Keys and all them other dudes from the Nation of Islam with the little bow ties and the no beards and stuff, why they talk about the truth so much now, right? Because we have surpassed them, even though most of us don't have any buildings. Most of us don't have, 60 years of being in the media and all that type of stuff, right? We don't have none of that, but we've surpassed them as the urban religion now in the cities, which is why Vocab, Malone, the lonely one, he's out here trying to profess his, hate for the Israelites so much and teach against us so well, because he's supposed to be an urban apologetic, right? His whole movement, so to speak, if you will, is to teach Black people, Hispanic people within the city, within urban communities, against what the Israelites teach. That's his whole methodology, right? Urban apologetics. So Just keep that in mind too, as we watch Shaggy and Scooby get down.
Because it's not centralized in Chicago. It's not centralized around Farrakhan. There's a few offshoots of the NOI. Not a lot of people knew.
And also, just to let me back off that, that's also something that they're going to use, right? The fact that we all speak different things. Because right now what he's talking about is how there's no one way to be a Hebrew Israelite, so to speak, right? But Hamashiach Yahushua told us that we're not going to agree until he comes back. Christians know the Bible, but they don't know the Bible that well. So we could bring that up all day long, but it's not something that they remember on their own until it's brought up to them and, read through the scriptures. So the fact that we won't agree is something that they're going to use to, novices out there that don't really know much about us to make it seem as if we're not on the same page, right? So that's something that they're going to harp on later on. The fact that there's One West camps, and then there's brothers like Ron Dalton. There's the dudes that follow the thoughts, camera, action nigga overseas, right? And all three groups basically got different trains of thought. Ron Dalton's in South Africa right now, and he thinks he's in Israel. We know where Israel is, and we over here. And the other dude is just confused and makes real good videos. So it's like it's different methodologies and different ways at going at it. And now they're trying to use that against us, so to speak. Not acknowledging that the Bible, it acknowledges that we're not going to be on the same page until our Messiah comes back to put us that way. So
knew about. This is a different thing. There are what we call camps, what they call camps.
Okay.
All over. Right before we logged on, I was watching some guys in the UK because they were live out on the street, Hebrew Israelites in the UK, saying the same exact things that guys over here would be saying. And so it is a worldwide phenomenon, primarily within, I guess, what we might call Western civilization, but heavy in the US, and then it spreads out here and there. But it is also growing on the continent of Africa, different versions of Hebrew Israelism. So It is an up-and-coming religion. It is not an established religion, although it did come around in the 1890s, so it's been around for a little bit.
Okay, yeah, that's it. So is it related to British Israelism?
I think it's the mirror image.
Okay.
So, if
you guys remember British Israelism, we actually did a lesson on that on the other channel, which we'll end up doing one on this one as well. But British Israelism is when you look up those 12 tribes charts from overseas in England, right? And then you see like Dan, or the Danish is the Danites, and the British are, I don't know, tribe of Judah or something like that, right? They've got all these different tribes linked to these European names, right? That's British Israelism. What that is it's a group of Europeans, right? White people who basically came together to do the same thing that we did, where they're trying to put themselves as the people of the Bible. Problem with that was it started in the 1700s, right? And they attached themselves to the Bible using the blessings of Deuteronomy 28, right? We know that the blessings of Deuteronomy 28 had fallen short. They had ended way before 1700, right? We were already in captivity. You feel me? The Jewish man, if you will, would say he was already in captivity. He was over there, getting kicked out of different places in Europe at that time. So both Jews, whichever one you decide you want to believe in, whether it's us, the real ones, or the pale ones, right? Both of them were in captivity during the time of this British Israelism. So it would technically be impossible to state that, you could use the blessings to quantify or validate the fact that you're an Israelite at that time period, right? You would only be able to use the curses, which is what we use to validate who we are, because they're supposed to be a sign and a wonder upon your generation forever. Nowhere in the Bible does it say the blessings would be a sign and a wonder upon the Israelites forever, because they wouldn't stay blessed forever. We would stay cursed for a longer period of time than we would be blessed according to the blessings of Deuteronomy 28. So he's about to speak on that, but I wanted to let that be known before the two crackers say what they're going to say. All right.
If you study this, the Anglo-Israelites, the British Israelites, when they started including America more, that kind of morphed into Anglo-Israelism. But that element of thought beats out what we can look at as far as Black Israelism by about a century.
Yeah.
When you study it. And so some of these arguments, man, they are like Anglo-Israelites argument, just flipped on their head. For example, British, term British, right? The Anglo-Israelites would say, oh, Brit-ish. That means Britain is the island of the covenant man. You saw where I was going with that, right?
Yeah.
The covenant man, right?
Wow.
And so that
Now, hold on. That's a fact, though, right? Now, British Israelism helped us out a little bit because there's books on these type of things, which is where the British Israelites, right, or the white folks of British Israelism, where they were getting their information from. There were books from the time of King James, from before the time of King James, that explained how Britain was created by the Israelites, right? And that the word Brit, if you will, in the contemporary Hebrew means covenant, right? I forget what they call it, but the whatever they call the moil where they put their mouth on the baby's genitals and stuff, they call that something with a brit in it because they're trying to connect it to the covenant. So and y'all could Google that and find out what it's called your own. But yeah, Brit in the contemporary Hebrew, right? The new Hebrew, it literally means covenant. So Britain or the British, that's what that was supposed to mean. It's a land for the people of the covenant. England was a land of the angels, angel land, right? And the Israelites are supposed to be the angelic sons of Isaac. Isaac's angelic sons, the chosen ones, right? He had two. He had Jacob, Esau. Jacob is the chosen ones, right? The angelic sons. And then Esau is the Saxons, the regular ones, right? Isaac's son, right? That's how it was supposed to be. They found that information and tried to use it. Vocab is going to explain how we validated, knowing the facts about King James and the Byzantine Empire and the fact that those were actually, brothers just like me and Knock. You feel me? Not Shaggy and Scooby. But that's basically what we're going to get into in a second. And I'll show some things.
That was some proof of who they were, right? And they would also say things like Anglo-Saxon. It's actually a corruption of the term Isaac's sons. And so the Anglo-Saxons are Isaac's sons. Well, Hebrew Israelites got the same thing going on. They actually use the same argument in relationship. Now, this is specifically a group called the One Westers. That's not a group. That's a ideology within Hebrew Israelism.
Okay.
And they actually use the British argument. But they say it's evidence that a Israelite aristocracy was in charge of Europe. And so you see it reflect.
Well, let's see if we could prove that right quick, right? Has there ever been such thing as a Israelite aristocracy that's in charge in Europe? Y'all think so? Let's see. Can y'all see this? This is a folder I have, right? Of a bunch of black people during the time of the Renaissance, right? And before.
Yeah, before.
This is Europe. These crazy looking pictures, right? They're from a book. This book right here. Here, let me pull it up. Hold up. This book is called Russian Icons, right? Y'all can look it up. Y'all can get it online, whatever y'all got to do. Just to show you, Israelite aristocracy, right? This is the Byzantine Empire. Icons, right? Masterpieces of Russian art. So you can see this is the woman that Europe is named after. It's named after a black woman, right? So there's a lot of things you can look up. That's Constantine. Whole bunch of stuff, right? So that's a little bit of the Israelite aristocracy. Just a little bit, right? That's the Byzantine Empire. It started during the time of Septimius Severus, who I think took it over around like 187 AD, 147, 187, something around there, right? So that's that. Let's get back to the video.
That's real black history. So-called.
And some even go as far as to say that's why it was called the Dark Ages, because it was ruled by dark men. And
that's right.
I'm talking about the leader of IUIC, the biggest One West group there is. So this is not a random.
We teach that too, because that's the facts, as you just saw. There's a whole book on it. There's multiple books on it. There's Nature Knows No
No Color Line.
Is it Nature Knows No Color Line or Nature Has No Color Line? It's one of those, right?
Nature Knows No Color Line.
There's a lot of different books out there that explain how we ran different parts of Europe. You know what I'm saying? For a very long period of time. And Nature Knows No Color line even goes into how they actually have our last names right now. Many of the people who were slave masters didn't do anything but recycle the names that we had on them when they were our slaves. They took the names or kept the names that we had, and then, you know, basically gave us our own slave names back that we had made up when we were in these different lands.
Salakia,
Yeah.
on that also with those names, you're right about that. And they even have the crest. They have drawings of the crest of the names, which show pictures and images of Black folk, melanated folk. So you can't get around that, folks. You cannot get around that. That's a piece of our history that they did not give us and have been trying to keep from us.
And King James as well, right? King James
right.
from the tribe of Benjamin, his whole family, the Stewart line. I got that folded too. I might show
That's
that while
right.
he's running his mouth. But check this out.
Yeah.
It says that's why it was called the Dark Ages, and that's why they were called the Knights, because they were black as night. And I'm not making this up. So this is the kind of wackiness it can get into. But to answer your question, yes, I do believe some of it's a direct ripoff of Anglo-Israelism.
Yeah, it was reminding me of that when you're.
And that's the reason why they another reason why he's trying to, you know, put it together with Anglo-Israelism. That's something that white people don't like, right? Evangelist Christians, they don't typically deal with Anglo-Israelism because it's associated with the KKK. And we know nowadays you can't be a Christian, right? Can't believe in good old Jesus Christ and be a member of the KKK nowadays, according to mainstream media. So they've kind of taken a step back from that. So in Vocab's words, in his mindset, if he can find any way to kind of liken us to that, he'll at least discredit us with those type of white people. So that argument wasn't for us. Black people don't care about British Israelism. It's to stop white people from jumping on our side and cleaving to us, as you guys have seen all over the internet in the last couple of years, right? So this video isn't just towards getting us to stop the movement. It's also getting, you know, or trying to gear towards getting their people to not help us with the movement, or to even profess that the movement is facts, right?
Right.
You don't want that to happen anymore. So,
Right.
You're mentioning it. So talk about what did you call it? One West? Is that is that something they call themselves, or is that something you needed to clear?
It is.
Oh, okay.
So look, right quick. He spoke about you know, us being in captivity. He kind of talked about the 12 tribes chart a little bit. He's gonna bring it out a little bit more here. But before he does, I just want to actually we'll wait. We'll get that in just a second.
So what does that refer to?
So it is something they call themselves, but it is something that I popularized, to be frank with you. Now, because when they would use it, they would usually only use it to refer to just a school's location, because the school that is the ideological grandfather of a lot of these modern groups was at 1 West 125th Street in Harlem, New York. That's where the 1 West comes from. Okay. So they would usually use it to refer to the actual place, back at 1 West. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And one camp in particular viewed themselves as the ideological descendants, and so they would use that term the most. ISUPK is the name of the group. But I said, how do we describe these kinds of Israelites, the ones who do accept Messiah?
Yeah, Sister L, if they teach that if you got Anglo in front of it, it automatically makes it white, right? Doesn't mean angelic. Or if it does mean angelic, they want you to think that white means angelic. So it means both, right? And Anglo means white and angelic. That's what it is. And he's gonna talk. No. He didn't popularize 1 West. He's talking about he popularized Hebrew Israelism. But he's trying to say amongst like the mainstream people, he popularized 1 West, and he spells it different than us. He claims that ISUPK, they don't spell it with the number 1, they spell it with the ONE West. So he's put it in his book. He wrote a whole book on it. So he's trying to take credit for that, just like the white man.
Wow, damn.
They do accept.
Wasn't even there, not even an Israelite, but he wants to take
New Testament. They have the 12 tribes chart. A lot of times they have Lashua and Kodash, their own language. They believe in the hard bondage for the other nations. These distinctives that not all Israelites agree with, right? And several ideas kind of went around, and 1 West or 1 Westism was the best term by far. And now
that's what he coined, 1 Westism, right? Anything with an ism at the end of it comes from Vocab Malone, is what he's trying to say, right? 1 Westism, Hebrew Israelism, all that stuff. It's him.
When you go on newspaper articles, you'll see them using it, but they use it with a ONEWEST, whereas I use the actual one because I like to keep it referring to the actual address, and so that's why I still use the one. This is the same title in my book. So
see him plugging his book. He was plugging his book, and you couldn't even see the One West. He wasn't even showing the right part. But that's the Most High.
One West is something a lot of Hebrew Israelites know about, but if they're not informed about the history, they may not actually even know that they're descendants of One West Israel. Like somebody in America who believes in kind of standard evangelicalism, by default, a lot of times, I think could properly be described as Arminian or Wesleyan. Usually, to some extent, about sort of the default position. I'm saying, sort of standard evangelical, like a Billy Graham type, something like that. But they may not know that. They may not know anything about the history of that term. That may, it's similar with these guys. But now a lot more of them know about it because I've been like telling them, "Hey, you're descendant from."
So he's saying that there's a lot of you Hebrew Israelites that are coming into the truth, and you don't even know that you're, spewing stuff that comes from us One Westers, right? You're spewing stuff that comes from the people that follow the ISUPK. The people that follow elders from the Mashara Yasharala, the people that follow HOI, the people that follow all these other camps, right? So the camps, basically, they're trying to say you standalonians, right? You keyboardalites, y'all are following after us. And he's trying to be the one in the middle to separate us, right? Hey, you're actually doing what them camps are doing, right? So if you guys wanted to know where a lot of the camp bashing has come from, he's been a part of a lot of it. He's been in the middle of it. You guys didn't even know that. A lot of the reason why you guys hate camps is because he's been talking to your leaders, right? He's even going to mention a little bit of that. He talks to Israelites on a daily, and he tries to get into our heads to kind of divide the community. And he's been able to do that with a lot of what I call stupid brews, right? The slow-minded ones that don't realize what the enemy does and what the white man does, how he always comes creeping in with his, forked tongue, right? So that's what he's done. He's basically going to admit it in so many words in this video, but that's what it is. So check it out.
From One West.
No,
how do you know that?
I see
you got a 12 tribe chart.
Yeah, most of them have no idea they've descended from the Millerite
12 tribes chart. So the brothers hating on the 12 tribes chart. Obviously, a lot of people want to step away from camps because they come into the truth, not hating white people, and they see we having we don't like them. So and we're vocal about that, right? We're vocal about our distaste for the Edomites, right? And the other nations for that matter. There's people who are in our community that don't want to be distasteful, so to speak, right? They feel it would be more beneficial to us to not hate on the other nations, at least in public, which in some aspects they could be right about that, depending on how it's done. But yeah. So that being the case, he's trying to play on their emotions, right? And he does this very well. He'll get them together, get them in a room, get them in a clubhouse room, whatever it might be. Talk to them on Facebook, sliding your DMs on Instagram, however it is, right? If he sees that you might be a brother or be in a congregation that isn't really rocking with the camps too much, and he sees things that you teach that come from the camps, he'll be quick to point that out so that you stop teaching that, right? And that's how a lot of these doctrines in the last couple of years have changed. That's how a lot of camps and a lot of different brothers have stopped following the 12 tribes chart. That's how a lot of different brothers have stopped believing that Hispanics and natives are their brothers as Israelites. It's how a lot of different things have happened. It's been, Velma's big brother that's been at the forefront of the whole thing, right? With his sidekick Shaggy next to him now.
Right, and the Armstrong and all that.
There you go.
So here's something interesting. My wife and I do a prison ministry. So about every 4
This is the whole reason why Shaggy's even on the show, right? He didn't see Priest Daniela and the people's name on the list in Milton, Florida. And he got a problem with it because he's like, yo, it started with just 7 or 8 people. And now they got a whole bunch of niggas and brown people too, just talking about the Bible all day long. I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on, right? So just listen to his little synopsis right quick.
4 to 6 weeks, we fly somewhere and play at some state penitentiary. And we were just in Florida. We play music. So
right on.
And it's awesome.
They spell it the Soulbergs with a U.
That's right. We should, the way my wife sings. She's super soulful. But we were at a prison in Milton, Florida, correctional facility.
Y'all know Vocab is Jewish. That's why he looks a little different. He's not your regular white man. He's a Jewish man by nationality.
And hanging out before we went out in the yard to set up our gear and perform, and we were right off of the chapel, the prison chapel, and I saw this sheet on the wall that listed all the groups that have checked out the chapel for certain times, and I noticed every Friday around 5 p.m. I think it said Hebrew Israelites. So they've got the chapel checked out for an hour every Friday. I assume it's Shabbat or something, the Shabbat dinner. But I asked the chaplain there, how many people attend? And she said, that's probably 7 or.
So he straight up went, yo, Hebrew Israelites, hey, how many of these prison folks y'all got coming to this thing with these damn niggas, huh? What's going on with this? The lady gonna tell him at the beginning it's 7 or 8. He's not gonna mention that it's growing by the number of people he sees in the room now, but he's gonna let you know that he sees it's growing amongst the prison population, which is the problem.
7 or 8 right now. And I said, is there any sort of a leader? Is there and she said, no, it's like a group effort, but there's always one guy that kind of knows something and he's sharing it with the others. So we got into a little bit of a conversation, and it's interesting, echoing kind of what you were just saying, how that particular theology is really growing within even like the prison system among African Americans, and actually even among, they say, black and brown. So
see, so it's unity, right? It's all right if it's just the niggas saying this stuff, but now y'all done got the brown people involved too, right? MS-13, the Latin Kings, they in the jail with the Crips and the Bloods in the same room on Friday at 5 p.m. What? Huh? Yeah. So that's the reason why he even has Vocab on here. Towards the end of the video, he's going to be asking them, so you have any like scriptures I could use to combat the things that they're teaching them in this class? Because that's what Esau wants to do. He wants to stop the movement, right? That's his whole goal, to stop what we're doing. He sees that it's growing in the prison population. Vocab's the guy that's good in the streets, right? So he's thinking Vocab, being the wannabe black guy, is going to be able to tell him some stuff that's going to help him connect with the niggas at the prison, right? So check it out.
There's charts out there. You probably know all this, but will connect a certain tribe of Israel to a certain black or brown.
This is why the 12 tribes chart is important, guys, right? It's a stick. We're going to get to it in a minute. Hey, go ahead and give me that Jeremiah 50 and 33, right? This is why the 12 tribes chart is important, because in the prison system, these black and brown brothers, so-called, these Hispanic, Native American, and niggas, so-called, these Israelites, right? Southern Kingdom and Northern Kingdom are all coming together based off what this chart says, right? The Most High is still moving people to come into the truth based off what this chart says, right? Y'all can't say it's anything other than the Most High. It's it's the Most High.
Heritage or ancestry. Have you seen those charts?
I'm pointing at one on my wall in front of me.
Yeah. So my question for you about that.
He's not an Israelite, but he's got a 12 tribes chart on his wall. Most of y'all don't even have the 12 tribes chart at your house. He's so obsessed with us, it's on his wall.
Right.
He's about to show it to you. Break it down, right? And even say some, fallacies. But we'll get into all that in a second.
Yeah, it's called the 12 Tribes of Israel chart. Yeah.
Is it a standardized chart that kind of everyone agrees to, or is there different versions of it?
There was, and the man who invented it, Arya, died Sunday. So Arya invented it sometime in the 70s. But what happened is when the groups started splitting out in the early 2000s, all these different groups, some of them made alterations to the chart. And so I can usually tell you what group it is or who they're affiliated with by the chart they use, because there's minor differences. They're usually pretty minor, though. Yeah.
Okay. You don't have one that you could show on screen, do you? I guess maybe I could find a graphic and pull it up.
Yeah, maybe if I can, I wonder if I can turn my camera around here. Hold on just a second.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk through that. I think that's one of the most interesting aspects. So for our viewers, and this is my opportunity to be corrected if I'm wrong, that's a hint for you, Vocab.
Gotcha.
The understanding is that there's 12 tribes of Israel, and each of those 12 tribes have morphed into or become. Yeah, that's the one I've seen. So you've got the tribe of Dan that equals whatever country, and it looks. I can't really read it from here, but yeah, there was a number of them from Africa, but I also saw some from South America. The one I saw.
I'm trying to zoom in. It's not letting me.
That's all right.
Okay, so here we go.
There you go.
So that's a little closer. No, there's nothing with Africa on there, but sometimes at the bottom in the newer tribe charts by IUIC down here, it'll say Isaiah 11, and that will basically say Israelites scattered abroad. So it's sort of the junk drawer of Israelism.
Okay.
But meaning it's a catch-all is what I mean by that. So at the top it says Judah, American blacks, Benjamin, West Indian blacks, Levi, Haitians, Ephraim, Puerto Ricans, Manasseh, Cubans, Simeon, Dominicans, Zebulon. Now it changes into regions here, Guatemala to Panama. And it says Mayans, even though the Mayan Empire didn't even stretch down to Panama, historically speaking.
Hold on. You see, this is why I don't like vocab, because he says things in novice, right? He throws little things out there that he thinks novice are gonna catch, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, this chart's not even real, right? What the Mayan, the Mayan even when they say it is on the chart." So look, it says Zebulon, which is the Mayans, Guatemala to Panama, right? Quick Google search just to prove that the cracker's the devil that the Bible speaks of. Y'all know why we call him the devil in this? Devil means deceiver. Right. He'll say anything he can to deceive you with no proof. Right. Yeah. Check this out. He said that the Mayan Empire didn't even span to where we say it was. We say Guatemala to Panama. Watch this. This is a simple Google search. Right. Shaggy, Scooby, and the Lonely Ones people made this, so they can't get on us for this being here. Right. It's from the History Channel. Something else we have nothing to do with. It says, unlike other scattered indigenous populations of Mesoamerica, the Maya were centered in geographical block covering the Yucatan Peninsula. Anybody know what the Yucatan Peninsula is? It's the peninsula from Guatemala to Paraguay, right? It says the Yucatan Peninsula and modern-day Guatemala, Belize, and parts of the Mexican states of Tabasco and Chiapas, right? In the western part of Honduras and El Salvador, which is below Mexico, because we know who was in Mexico, the Azteca, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a different group. And then below the Mayans was the Incas and the different tribes that break off from them, right? We met some of them brothers this weekend at camp. So now I want to show you guys a map just to further prove it, right? Vocab just be saying stuff. Guatemala, Panama, right? So Medellin, right? El Salvador, all of this right here, right? Chipayas. So it's exactly what we said it was. The reason we put a little bit more of a stretch is because now we have, scattered people. So when you do the history research, if you actually go to Central America, you'll know that a lot of the Mayans, they've come down here. A lot of the Incas aren't in Colombia no more. They're in Peru. They're in Bolivia. They're in Ecuador. So that's why there's such big spans on the chart, because brothers did their research. There's brothers that was in the old school that are from these places that could actually tell you where the folks have gone to and where they at now. Right. So that's that on that. But we'll have classes on that, proving all that stuff later on. Just wanted to prove he be saying stuff to make it seem like he knows what he's talking about, but you can easily disprove what the hell he's talking about, right? There's nothing wrong with the chart. It's historically accurate and physically accurate according to what the people and where they are on the chart. Okay? So there's nothing you can say about that. Don't matter who you are.
Gad, Native American Indians, Reuben, and even though they are Native American Indians, you just have the Seminoles standing alone in the silo by themselves, even though they should be in Gad, hypothetically.
Something else to talk about, right? Crackers do this all the time. Seminole Indians are different than regular Indians because there's something called the Arawak, who never stepped foot on mainland America, and they would be considered your Seminole Indians. They're in the same category, right? There's Arawak from Puerto Rico, which would be considered Ephraim. And then there's Arawak from Florida, right? You call them Creek Indians or Seminole, right? So they're a different group of natives, completely different. They didn't even fall in line when the other ones was being civilized. They weren't being brought into the groups to have the meetings with them because there was a different group of Indians, different group of people, whole different tribe, right? We got the 5 civilized tribes, and the Seminole is one state below them, a couple of clicks away. They wasn't one of the 5 civilized tribes because they was a different group. They weren't involved in the meetings. They were fighting the Cherokee when they was teaming up with the other people, the Crackers, right?
Right.
That's the reason why they're on the chart as separate from the other Native American Indians, because Seminole Indians are a different group, right? History research would prove that to you.
Asher, Colombia to Uruguay. It says Incas there, Issachar, Mexicans, Aztecs, Naftali, Argentina to Chile.
Wow. Okay.
So that's the IUIC chart right there.
Okay.
That you're looking at.
And this is the guy that just passed away recently. He made
Arya invented this. He says
they even know about stuff that's going on in the community, right?
Right.
It's people saying that the elder didn't actually pass away and stuff, but regardless, when this was happening, right? When the news goes out to the community, Vocab is so engrossed in what we have going on in our community that he knows about it, and he's able to say it and repeat it and regurgitate it for this white man who don't even know nothing about us. He knows Arya supposedly died last weekend, 2 weeks ago. I mean, right? How is it that you know this and you ain't even in the community? It wasn't on CNN, right? MSNBC didn't. The Black Hebrew Israelite leader has passed away. They didn't do that. So it's important for them to talk about these things. It's important. They have talks over coffee about us. Y'all think that it's not a thing. It's a sister and a brother that came up to us after camp this past Saturday. Just asked us, yo, what's the deal with this Hebrew Israelite stuff that we keep hearing about? Because people hearing about it.
Yeah.
That's why Vocab got to keep doing what he's doing, man. You know what I'm saying? You got that Jeremiah 50 and 33?
Come on.
Don't read it just yet. You about to in a second, though.
All right.
When he finished talking about this chart. Because I want to explain to y'all why we have it in the first place.
The Lord gave it to him. And sometime in the 70s, he was 82. So he just died Sunday.
Okay.
And no one really knows where the first copy is, what year it came out. No one knows any of that. But nonetheless, they do know that he's the inventor. Let me switch my cameras here.
Sure.
They do know that he's the inventor, but normally it's the Lord's or something like that, right? Not just Arya's. They think that's sort of minimizing it. Let me zoom out. I understand that I'm zoomed in now because of what I just did.
Okay.
And
we're going through all the technical trouble.
Yeah, it's a distinctive though. So the 12 tribes of Israel chart, it's a distinctive to the One West camps. Not all Hebrew Israelites get down with the chart. And in fact,
so let me teach why we have it in the first place. Give me Jeremiah 50 and 33.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast.
Look, so this is one reason why this chart resonates so much with the people in the prisons, why it's resonated so much with brothers and sisters in camps, why it's resonated so much with brothers and sisters outside of camps, right? Why it's woken so many people up, because basically all of y'all woke up from them charts, whether you like it, understand it, believe it or not. That's what it was, right? If you woke up on the street, it most definitely was that, because the brothers had that in front of your ass to see it.
And identify.
Where do you find yourself on this sign?
That's right.
Right? That's what it is. So whether you like it, understand it, believe it or not, that's part of what woke you up. Now, the reason why, because we're oppressed together. Those that have us right now, you know what I'm saying? These two people and their companions, right? They have held us fast and refused to let us go. Why is it important that, we show this chart, right? For one, give me Zechariah 11 and 14.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 11 and verse 14. Then I cut asunder mine other staff, even bands, that I might break the brotherhood between Judah and Israel.
So the brotherhood has been broken between Judah and Israel. Part of the thing that we're supposed to do, one of the most important things that we're supposed to do, right next to us waking up, coming back to our law, statutes, and commandments, our heritage that the Bible is, right, that the Most High gave us, coming back to that heritage that we have, that we lost. Aside from that, we're supposed to gather ourselves together as a nation not desired, right? Zephaniah 2:1.
That's right.
The best way to gather yourself together with the people who aren't desired is to know who it is that you can gather with, right?
That's right. That's right.
Otherwise, you'd be going to the damn crackers that's off the opioids in the trailer park up there in Ohio and stuff like that too, because you would think, according to CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, they in the same situation as you, even though they're not.
No.
Right? They get food stamps too. They on welfare too.
Yeah.
Right? The Jewish man collects more welfare checks than anybody on the planet.
Schemers.
So
like they are.
worldwide, right? So like, you would think they're in the same situation as us if that's the way you're looking at it. If it's just a situation-based thing, right? But when you look at the plight, the people that are literally not desired, the people that are actually going through the curses of the Bible, right? You know who to gather with. All we did was do what Ezekiel told us to do and put it on a chart. Give me that in Ezekiel. Ezekiel 37 and 19.
Con, the book of Ezekiel, chapter 37 and 19. Say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick.
And you see that? He gonna take the two sticks. He gonna take Ephraim, all his companions, the rest of the 10 tribes, right? He gonna put them in one stick. He gonna take Judah, his companions. He gonna put them together. And then what's gonna happen? It's gonna be what? Keep going.
Even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand.
Right? Keep going.
Con. And the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thine hand before their eyes.
So it shall be in their hand before their eyes. Right? We're going to get to see this chart. We're going to get to see who's who. We're going to get to see who our companions are, who we supposed to gather with, right? We have it on the chart for you to see. We got one with the Africans on it, right? The Mashra Yasharala elders have been doing that. We got one with Africa on it. We got one for North America. They getting one for the brothers in the different tribes. They got the scattered people in Europe, right? We got folks in India trying to do the thing, in Asia, the Middle East. We got brothers doing the work, right? Telling you who your people are all throughout the world, 4 corners of the earth, right? That's the reason why we have the chart. It's not just something that we use just to, it's emphatically this and that's what it is. No. Nah, we're not saying it's 100% correct, but we are saying it's a spiritual thing. And by the Spirit, through the Spirit, it's woken up all these people, man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not against the chart. But Vocab wants you to be against the chart. Why? Because it has woken up so many people, man.
That's right.
In fact, some of them are offended by it because it includes basically non-black people. In fact, black folks are outnumbered on the chart. You know, if you look at the chart,
black folks are outnumbered on the chart typically or simply because Native Americans have been split up into more groups than black people have been, right? We kind of put a lot of the groups of so-called black people together because in droves they came, but they were only separated into 3-4 groups, basically. You've got your homegrown natural land Negro, right? The American. You got your island Negro, Caribbean. And then we just split them in half and put the Haitians on the other side because they're Levi, right? That's it. We could have split the Trinidadians up into something and Benjamin into something, Bahamian into something, but it's all the same thing. So it's not that they're outnumbered. It's just there's been less groups that so-called Negroes have been split into by the white man as opposed to Hispanics and Native Americans. There's a bunch of groups for them. They've been, dealt with a lot longer, 200 years longer than y'all was dealt with by the white man. So they've had 200 years or more categories they could be split into, right? But here comes Esau again, trying to make it seem like, it's a division. Black people are outnumbered on the chart. And when he says that to, certain camps out there, that's what got them to be like, damn, you're right. Why are we accepting all these Hispanics, all these pale-faced looking people, without even realizing certain things, right? We got classes coming on that too, so we'll get on that later. But just wanted to put that out there, man, as far as the chart is concerned. Another reason why we're waking up here, right? Give me Baruch 2 and 30. Hold that for a second.
I got it.
I guess you could say Judah, Benjamin, Levi are properly speaking, right? But everybody else, I mean, right? And I'm not the DNA expert, but I can tell you one thing. This creates a massive problem when it comes to haplogroups, because you get all these different
haplogroups. The reason why a lot of Israelites don't deal with DNA and haplogroups and stuff is because we know that a lot of those things have been configured and structured to keep us separate in the first place. It's part of the crafty counsel, right?
That's right.
If you believe Psalm 83, you have to believe that, right? Got to. It's impossible not to. So you have to understand there's going to be certain things that they put in place to try to make it seem like we're not the people we say we are, right? They can use their haplogroups to prove they're Jewish, right? So that's just stuff to keep in mind too. You can't put all your eggs in that basket for brothers and sisters that deal with that type of stuff, right? And a lot of y'all have, just because of what guys like Vocab are saying, without even realizing there's crafty counsel. We didn't have anything to do with making them haplogroups and deciding who goes where and what's considered what. They did that, right? So obviously they're going to have certain things that fit certain narratives they want to fit. They're going to have certain haplogroups that are completely separate than people when, you might be able to put a brother from Mexico right next to me and we look the same. We just two different shades, right? Certain times you can't put two of them together and be like, yo, y'all not related. But according to haplogroups, it would tell us completely different, right? So that's just something else to keep in mind too. Not all of us look completely different, but the haplogroups and the DNA would tell you that. So that's just there. That's that.
Different haplogroups that are supposed to be descended from the same, father, ultimately Isaac. And it's like, bro, come on now, Okay, so there are problems.
I'm just really honest trying to self-edit because there are a ton of problems. So one of the things I wanted to ask about, though, is if that chart were true, what do they say about people who are actually of Israelite descent, the Jews? Do they
Khazars
somewhere?
Now, we know that those people aren't actually of Israelite descent because they say they aren't actually of Israelite descent, right? They'll tell you they could trace their family back to the time of David, but the words trace my family back to the time of David doesn't mean Israelite, right? David had Edomite slaves too.
Sure did.
Feel me? So they're not saying anything when they say that. I could trace my family back to the time of the Jewish revolt. So I could trace my family back to the time of Alexander. Okay. People were converting back then too. Yep. Right? Who are the people that can't trace their family back to that? What does the prophecy say about the Israelites and whether they'd be able to trace any damn thing?
Right.
So that's what we base it off of, right? What the Bible says. These people claim to believe in the Bible, but don't actually go by any of the prophecies. You feel me? So, yeah, they were Khazars. There's white people who have written books on the Khazars. There's Muslim people that have written books on the Khazars. There's Khazars that have written books on the Khazars, like David Blair, right? And they all say that these people, who are now the Jewish people, who came out originally as the Ashkenazi Jewish people, right, aren't actually Jews, aren't the Israelites. They're all converts, right? You can look up the history of their Khazar king who was trying to decide whether he was going to make them all mass convert to Christianity, Islam, or Judaism. And he picked the one that was the least popular, if you will, right? It ain't going to be popular for you to be a Jew if the whole world knows you can't be a Jew.
Right.
So he says, well, damn, I'm going to have us all convert to this. And that's what they did, right? Malachi talks about it. That's when they came down and built up their nations, right? They built up their kingdom. They had their renaissance, the rebirth of Esau as a Jewish man, right? Who now runs the world, but the Most High is going to throw down, right? So what is it that we have involved? Why is it that we're waking up to this type of thing? Give me Baruch 2 and 30 right quick.
Come, the book of Baruch, chapter 2 and verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people.
So the Most High knew that we would go off. He knew that we would not follow the laws and commandments that Moses gave us and that the curses would fall upon us eventually, right? Moses told us that. He said, once you don't hearken to these laws, these curses shall come upon you and overtake you, right? That's what happened. They've come upon us, and now they've overtaken us, and they're a sign and a wonder upon our generations forever. Till Mashiach Yahushua come back. Now, we're in the land of our captivities, right? So he knew that we were stiff-necked people and we couldn't hear him, wouldn't hear him. But in the land of our captivities, we're supposed to remember ourselves. Keep going.
But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves.
You see? So we in captivity now. This is prophecy. This is prophetic. So the people that are really the people of the Bible, they're going to be in a captive situation where they remember they're the Israelites, right? They're not going to be put in a captive situation as the Israelites and have to remember they're the Israelites, right? That's what happened to the Jewish people. They were put in concentration camps as Jewish people. They didn't lose any heritage. They went into camps as Jewish people, came out the camps as Jewish people. Where's the prophecy? Right? Where's the prophecy? So Baruch 2:30, we would wake back up in the land of our captivities. That's what we see happening right now, right? What else do I want? Give me John chapter 4 and 23 right quick. Something else we have to understand. Something that Vocab knows too, right? Vocab understands this. The white guy understands this. The true worshipers are coming back to worship the Most High and his son in spirit and truth, right? That's what's happening. Read that.
The book of John, chapter 4 and verse 23. But the hour cometh, and now is.
And now is.
And now is. When the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him.
You see that? He's seeking us to worship him. So don't matter how y'all try to stop it, ain't nothing y'all gonna do, right? Ain't nothing you can do against the truth, only for it. That's it. So let's continue.
Oh no, they're Khazars, they're imposters.
Actual Jewish people are imposters? Okay.
Yeah, let me see if I can say this without overstating.
Give me Revelations 2 and 9.
The nerve of them.
Why is this in the Bible if it's not possible for actual Jewish people to be imposters? Yeah, actual Jewish people. Actual people trying to be like the Jews are imposters. You see how that works? Etymology. It's a beautiful thing. Everybody should learn it. The translation of what Shaggy just said was, hey, you telling me Jewish people are imposters?
Right.
Jewish means imposter.
Right.
Now, if I call you childish, am I saying you are a child or you act like one?
You're saying that I act like one.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not one.
If I say I'm gonna be at the dang crib 9 o'clock-ish, am I gonna be at the house at 9 o'clock? Or am I gonna be there around 9 o'clock? Something
maybe
like 9 o'clock.
Right. 9:15, 9:30.
But not quite, right? Some of y'all was talking about Vocab looked like he might be a little Mexican, right? Something close, but not quite.
Right.
Mexican-ish, right? Rapper-ish, right? Blackish. Whatever you want to call him. He's still an ish, right? Edomite-ish at that.
Vocabish. He ain't even that.
Vocabish, right? Cabish.
Cabish.
So what we got to understand about this, bro, straight up, right? Vocab and this guy are on a smear campaign basically to try to stop you guys from understanding the Bible, stop you guys from believing what we teach, right? When their avenue for doing that is to try to discredit us, right? Discredit us by putting us against Jewish people, discredit us by putting us against black people in the 12 tribes chart, discredit us by putting us against Christians who might well listen to what we're saying, but don't really understand why we teach so much different than the church, right? His whole goal is to put out as much counter information as possible because niggas ain't gonna do no research anyway. If they hear a counter argument, now they have to make a decision, right? And a lot of y'all are gonna believe what the white man says instead of us just because he's the white man, right?
Want the Revelation?
Yeah, read that.
Yeah.
Why are they Jewish people? Because
the book of Revelation, chapter 2 and verse 9. I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews
Right.
and are not,
So the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews and are not. Who are they?
but are the synagogue of Satan.
The chief house of Satan, right? And the only people that worship in a synagogue today. Synagogue used to be what you call the church. We didn't used to call the church church. We're the church, stupid.
Right.
Hello. Right? We the church.
So like,
So-
can I double down on that one?
Rick, go right ahead, brother.
Con, you know where I'm going. Revelation chapter
About to make
3.
you drink a double cup, Shaggy. Look at his face. Go ahead.
Revelation chapter 3, verse 9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet,
Yep.
and to know that I have loved thee.
That's it. Right? So we ain't the ones saying that they're imposters. The Bible says they're imposters, right? We ain't the ones known as Jewish people today. So it can't be talking about us. When you look at a black man walking down the street and you're not an Israelite and don't know nothing about it, right? You ain't looking at us as Israelites. You ain't looking at us as Jewish people. So when you read this scripture in the Bible, it's only one people that it's talking about. The mainstream Jewish man. The people who mainstream on a mass level, colloquially, internationally, all of that, right? The one that called themselves Jews, but are not. That's not us. It's the synagogue of Satan, right? Vocab is mom and daddy.
So,
Besides certain forms of Islam, I think Hebrew Israelism is one of the most anti-Semitic religions that exists.
How's that for irony?
Yeah, but here's the funny thing they'll say, and you may have caught this if you paid attention to what Kanye said, yay. They'll say, how can I be anti-Semitic?
Now we got to discredit Ye, right? Later on, he's going to discredit Kyrie in the video when he starts talking about Ron Dalton and he brings up the fact that the smart man thinks he's in Israel right now in South America, right? That'll discredit you.
Yep.
He's bringing it up to discredit brothers, right?
Crafty counsel.
Semitic if I'm Semitic.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they'll say something like that. And Kanye actually said that. He actually said that when they said, hey, this sounds like, da-da-da. Well, I can't be anti-Semitic, which is a silly argument for a few reasons. One is people know what we mean by the term anti-Semitic, number one. And number two, you can be self-loathing or self-hating anyway. That's silly. Not only that, but the guys who believe in the 12 tribes chart also have something that they hold to that's the 18 nations. And they believe each modern day people group can be assigned an ancient biblical nation. So white people are Edomites. Well, if they're Edomites, they're descended from Esau. And if they're descended from Esau, guess what? They'd be Semitic. And yet Hebrew Israelites hate Edomites, generally speaking, of the one West variety, right? Sure. Well, that means they are anti-Semitic. Okay. Because
so look, we could actually turn that argument around, right? Don't evangelical Christians talk about Jewish people? There's a lot of evangelical Christians that hate the Jewish man because they're trying to take the blessing from them, right? There's some evangelical Christians that love the Jewish people. Wouldn't they be anti-Semitic? When the Jewish man talks about Esau and he's trying to separate himself, isn't he anti-Semitic? When Donald Trump was president and David Duke was running for whatever he was running for, and put that YouTube video out telling the Hebrew Israelites, don't be mad at us. We're on your side. We're telling the truth. We know who you people are. Be mad at them Jewish people. They're the ones who stole your identity, right? Ain't that anti-Semitic? So, yeah, there's Shemites that hate on other Shemites. That's been a thing since the beginning of time. When you read the Bible, we was boo-booing on Esau, Moab, Ammon, right? Everybody.
Salakia.
Go ahead.
And my thing is when he was just stating about how they can't be anti-Semitic. What does that have to do with the covenants anyway? If we go with his argument that, well, they can't be this because if they're Edomites and they're Semitic too. But does Esau get any covenant? Is he a part of the covenants? No. So it's a pointless argument that Vocab tries to make, but it's those smooth sounding, slick words that he uses to try and confuse us individualites and those who don't have the solid understanding of the truth. That's who he gets. That's who he turns away. So even his own, I think he's going to bring it up here. It made no sense to me.
Hey, Filthy Frank, shut up.
Edomites would be Semites. Now I know what I said is a little confusing, but if you're tracking with me, you're just I think you're understanding.
Yeah, no, So, okay, so let's take a step back for a second because, like I said, I'm self-editing here because I see so many logical and biblical and theological problems with all of this. So let me ask you this question kind of at a time.
He said he sees biblical and theological problems with this, but not once have they brought out a biblical problem. Obviously, their theology would be messed up because their theology involves letting all people be engrafted into the covenant, right? So I ain't worried about their theology being messed up. I already know that the Bible messes up their theology, right? The proper breakdown of John 3:16 cuts the whole Christian doctrine to shambles.
Yep, it's over
right?
with. Game over.
So, like, their doctrine isn't something we're worried about. Their theology ain't none we worried about. What I'm worried about is the fact that they're so adamant in trying to make it seem like we don't know what we're talking about. Right? So just pay attention to how they're going to go at this thing now. Watch.
Top level.
This section is called What is the Appeal of Hebrew Israelism? So this white man with the glasses, right, vocal and lonely, is going to try to explain to Shaggy Doo how exactly black people and why black and Hispanic people feel they need to be Hebrew Israelites. Why is it we're coming into this thing so much, right? As if he can actually give that information, being a white man, right? So check this out.
Level. When I see this, and I'm assuming most, I don't know what you want to call mainstream Christians or whatever, would see something like this and instantly be confused and sense its wrongness. So what do you think is the appeal that causes? Is there a scriptural support behind it? Is there?
Now, that was kind of also like a play, right? He's trying to get you brothers and sisters that might still be in a Christian mind frame. With all the stuff that Vocab has brought out, with the novice viewpoint, with them not knowing a whole bunch of stuff and most likely not being willing to do any research on it either. The way he's playing it is, when most Christians see this, most mainstream Christians, they'll think this is wrong. They'll see the wrongness in it. He gets all soft in his voice and stuff, right? Starts trying to make it seem like it's a victimology type thing where we're wrong for teaching what we teach, even though it comes straight out the Bible. And then he wants to ask if there's any scriptural basis to it, right? I want you guys to realize how Vocab is not going to talk about the scriptural basis part. He's only going to talk about the first thing that the dude mentioned, right? Because when you bring up the scriptural basis, it causes people to have to kind of take into account to what we say, right? If Vocab is just going against us on his own, he don't have to bring out any scriptures, right? He could just talk like he's been doing this whole interview. If he gets to talking to us, we're going to bring out scriptures, and then you have to sit on the scriptures we're bringing out. You have to at least consider them, right?
Yep.
So Vocab is not going to mention any of the scriptures that we will bring out. Watch.
a celebrity cult of celebrity behind it? What's causing it to be?
What he is going to talk about is the cult of celebrity, the amount of celebrities that have come into the truth and that are speaking about, even though that was his second question. He's completely going to skip over the part about, is it any biblical and historical basis to why people are coming into the truth? Obviously there is. People aren't just hanging their hat on what a skinny nigga on YouTube said, right? That ain't what they doing. They're going out researching the stuff. They're doing research. They're reading books. They're reading the Bible, right? And they're connecting the dots. It's that simple.
Accepted as legitimate and not dismissed as fiction.
They would say the big chapter is Deuteronomy 28.
Is this about the ships and the?
Yeah, but it's the whole curses section.
Okay.
They think it describes the condition of Black America.
Okay. Right.
And
so you got 28. The first half of that chapter is the blessings. Does that not describe? What does that describe?
Question. Who do you think used the blessing section as evidence they were Israelites? We discussed them earlier in the show.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of who.
The Anglo-Israelites. They used the blessing section to prove that Britain and her empire
Oh my goodness,
were
yeah.
the Israelites. So
now we
these
have the
guys,
other side of the coin. Okay.
Once again, for those of y'all that might not have been in the room at that time, problem with that is Britain, the foundation of Britain, the founding of Britain was already once the Israelites have gone into captivity. Jeremiah is already Jeremiah in the Bible. Isaiah's Isaiah in the Bible. They know who he is in England, the founder of England, right? Them dudes with the Ingram last name, the black ones, right? They actually had copies of the Bible when they went to found the place, right? So the blessing section had already ended. You feel me? Byzantine Empire was more so, it's damn near like a grace period before the grace period, right? Even though it's already, the grace period is like the grace period already started. Hamashiach Yahushua has already been on the scene by the time Britain is founded as a nation, right? We already have grace. So we're in a situation where some of us are keeping the law, some of us aren't, and we're kind of reaping the benefits for that in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like we was in the old kingdom. It was a chance for us to get right. We didn't, but it gave us enough chance to at least make the Bible, right? Gave us enough chance to write books, gave us enough chance to pinpoint different things in history that we'd be able to look at now to put the truth out there, right? To make the truth manifest and be more known widely in the last days, right? As the scripture said that it's supposed to do. So that's the main reason why the Byzantine Empire was able to flourish the way it was. And again, it was Black Empire. It wasn't them white people over there. So
they were like, you know what? Let's use their other part of Deuteronomy 28. And so they go to the curses and they say, hey, this describes us. It doesn't describe those so-called rich Jews who control the world's banking system and the media, who are in Israel with all this stuff. It doesn't describe them.
Yeah, because the thing is, they would be described according to the look at his face. They would be described according to the blessings, right? Which we know the blessings are no longer active as a nation, as a whole, on the nation of Israel. So if the whole nation of Jewish people is living good, that means they're not the Israelites. If the whole nation of British Israelites or the whole sect of people who practice British Israelism, if they all living good in their little British houses, right? They able to lynch black people, ride their horses and stuff, right? Game of Thrones and all that. Why would they be considered the Jews? What curses have they gone over? You know, the curses are after the blessings. So when are they going to go through the curses if they're still in a blessing period?
Right.
Right? These are all questions that Vocab isn't allowing to be asked or answered because of the way he's answering the questions. Right? But a little bit of common sense would put it out there that that's the way this should have been looked at. If the blessings is before the curses, why are these people still going through the blessings and never hit the curses? And we know that everybody sinned on earth. Y'all teach that as Christians. So if everybody's falling short of the glory of God, how are these people still in their blessing period? If they're the real Jews.
And it's just Jews. They're just saying Jews and not saying Israelites. Just
Yeah.
Jews. Where's the
Just
rest?
Jew. That's another good question. Where's everybody else? Right? Where are they oppressed together at, as we read in Jeremiah 50 and 33? So
they're blessed. How could they be fulfilling the curses? It describes only us. You see, so they believe that the curses are the way you determine who's an Israelite. Ultimately,
okay. So yeah, so
we didn't say that the curses are a way to determine who's Israelite. Ultimately, give me Deuteronomy 28 and 45. This is ridiculous. Go ahead.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. Verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
You see that? So they're going to be upon us for a sign, a wonder, and upon our seed forever, right? That's what this is. So literally, it's telling you, if you want to know who the Israelites are, look at who's going through these curses, because they're going to be a sign and a wonder upon their seed forever. When you want to know something, you look at a sign, right?
God.
The sign's supposed to point things out to you when you need to stop so that you don't hit the other cars going through the four-way stop. You stop at the stop sign. When you got to stop, the traffic lights is a form of a sign, right? When it's time to go, the traffic lights tell you behind to go. They turn green, right? If you got to merge over into a lane, you see a sign that helps you not hit the cones and run into the cop car that's sitting there, right? All of those are signs to show you things. Why is it that the Bible is telling us that there's going to be a whole chapter and a whole list of things we can look at as a sign to tell who the Israelites are, but nobody wants to use that sign? Nobody wants to look at it. Nobody wants to treat it as valid, right? That's an issue. Ooh.
It reminds me a little bit of Dan Brown's historical fiction, in that they take components, they take actual scripture, and they put it into a completely fictional narrative and somehow try to make it all tie together, which is...
Now here comes the discrediting, right? Now they want to try to make it seem like we're just taking things, from a fiction book and putting it together and trying to make it real. So now it would seem as if these people don't actually believe in what the Bible says, right? We just read why we do what we do. We've brought scriptures out as to why we teach what we teach. And the scripture said exactly what we were teaching, exactly what our breakdown was prior to. So if we're able to do that and bring things straight from the Bible, and he's making it seem like, we're using a fiction book, doesn't that kind of mean that they don't actually believe what the Bible says? But they've got followings and channels for people that want to believe what the Bible says? The irony in that.
A little bit frustrating. No, it's very much frustrating for me on a theological perspective. But what I've seen, and I've come to this understanding as well on the Torahism side, the Hebrew root side, which is a lot of the same theology minus the sort of historical genetic fallacy. But is there...
Right.
There's a sense of, okay, this is as wacky and tinfoil hat as I might think this is. There are real lives that hang in the balance because they're believing this stuff. And so I'm wondering what you getting out on the street and talking to people face to face who are maybe withdrawn from, or are they withdrawn from the academic logical arguments being made to promote this theology? What is like the man on the street, if there is some sort of a summary? Why are they in it, and what are they getting out of it?
Well, there's a few things there. One is everybody wants to know who they are, where they came from, where they're going, type of thing.
Yep.
It can be more acute. It can be more acute depending on your socioeconomic context. And so Hebrew Israelites use that.
Listen to this. He's going to try to make it seem like us speaking about how Black people, Hispanic people, Native American people are in a bad situation, right? Financially, economically, physically, mentally, emotionally, that we're wrong for pointing those things out and then putting them in a biblical context, right? He's making it seem like we're like scapegoating that or something. We're using it to our advantage in a wicked way, right? Because we're telling people what our plight is and showing them how it matches the people of the Bible's plight, right? They say we live in the ghetto, and then when you look at the definition of ghetto, it literally says the place where the Jews reside. But we're not supposed to consider ourselves to be the Jew. That's what Vocab wants us to do, right? Just ignore the facts.
Not only that,
That's to their advantage.
It's like not only that, but it's the same old whenever we are, when we are in a, whenever our people, this happened in the past, when we had the civil rights movement, we had the Nation of Islam, we gravitated to a certain sect of people. We had the Black Panthers, we had all these different things that we were trying to grab on and take a hold of. And they would say, oh, you're just because you don't have or know who you are, you're grabbing onto this, you're grabbing onto that. And now when we have proof, we have history, we have prophecy. Now they're saying this, they're using the same words, but with a little bit more worry in their voice now, because now that's why you got Vocab doing what he's doing. He's out on a daily. I mean, he's obsessed with us. He is literally obsessed with us. I mean, like, I can't put it any other kind of way. You know what I'm saying? He's the Haman of the Bible. You know what I'm saying? So
he's a little more than that.
You think he's more than that?
He's definitely, he's a Haman. I like that.
Right.
So
Ha,
they
Haman.
will not only have a lot of times out on the street, if they're one Westers, the 12 tribes chart, but they'll also have pictures of the horrors of slavery and lynching. And they'll say, this shows we fulfill the curses. Your people did that to our people, they'll say sometimes to passersby. And so there's an emotional element that it's like, hey, I'm not what these oppressors said about me. I'm actually basically part of the central character of the story of the Bible.
Now, what's wrong with us saying that? Right? What did the oppressors say about us? They said we're black.
Yep.
My crown is black. My hair is not even, it's like dark brown, but it's still like, different than my skin. Right? I'm not black. That's what the oppressor said I am, though. Right? In a minute, he's about to say something real crazy. Like, we hate our identity. We hate our ethnicity and stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Not acknowledging the ethnicity that we're telling people we actually are. We don't have one. We don't have one. Right? Most of our people, you would say, black people that came off the boat, they traced themselves back to the Igbo people, right? Well, who the hell are the Igbo people? The Jewish man is accepting them as Israelites right now. Why is it wrong for us to say we're the Israelites? And most of us, historically, genetically, right, according to phenotypes and haplogroups, coming from the dang Igbo people, the Hebrew people, right?
Yep.
Eber, yeah, which is Hebrew, right? Ibar. So, like, what's wrong with us saying that if we've already been, the people that we come from that are in West Africa are being considered Israelites? They're calling themselves that, and the Jewish man has accepted them as such. Right? Why isn't Vocab making it seem like it's okay for us to teach who we are and to say what we claim to be if the Jewish man over there in Israel is accepting the people that history tells us we come from? Right? Makes no sense. The only reason why he'd be able to do that is because he knows most of our people don't know a damn thing about the Igbo people. Most of our people don't know a damn thing about Jewish people accepting the Igbo people as the real Israelites, right? And majority of so-called Black Americans coming from the Igbo people would mean that they also would be Israelites. Right?
Right.
That's just on a genetic level. That's not even talking about the history we could put behind it. The books, the articles, right? The pictures, as he was talking about, the prophecy, right? That's not taking none of that into account. So just listen to how pompous he's about to be in a minute.
Not only that, but it's not love your neighbor in John 3:16 the way that the church has taught me, because that's just a sham. It's actually,
it is a sham, right?
Of course, it's
Notice
a sham.
He didn't say John 3:16 the way that the Bible has taught me. He said the way that the church has taught me, because he knows that the church don't teach what John 3:16 says in the Bible. Right? Let's just get it right quick, real quick, for people that might not know what we're talking about. Get John 3:16, then get John. Hell, I'll read Psalm 92. So you just get you just get John 3:16, and you get Isaiah 45:17. I'll get the song.
God, no doubt. The book of John, chapter 3, and verse 16, and it reads. And it reads, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son."
Read a little quicker than that. Read a little quicker.
"That whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life."
So look, that's what it's talking about, right? God gave his only begotten Son, and the people shall not perish but have everlasting life, right? Those that believe in him. That's what they want you to believe, right? So Psalm 90:2 says, "Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever thou hast formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting, thou art God." So now we have an earth and a world, right? If you go into Hebrews chapter 1, verse 1 and verse 2, talks about how Jesus helped create the worlds, right? With his Father, right? Let us make man in our image. The worlds are nations, right? He created the nations, right? Made the Israelites in his image. So now we've got Isaiah 45:17. Who is this world, this one world? Since there's more than one, according to Hebrews, more than one nation that the Messiah created, who's the one nation that's going to be saved from everlasting to everlasting? that was also formed from everlasting to everlasting, right? Who is this people? Go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 45 and verse 17. But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed, nor confounded world without end.
They're a world without end because everlasting means it don't stop, right? The Psalm told us that there was one nation made not to end, and there was one people or one planet made not to end, right? We got the earth and the world. That world is Israel, and they'll be saved with an everlasting salvation, right? That's what that's talking about. So that's just a little on that, right? But John 3:16 has not been taught the way that the Bible teaches. It's been taught how the church wants to teach it, right? Which is indeed a sham.
We're going to put these other nations in slavery. And now this is one Westism. Not all Hebrew Israelites believe this version. This is one Westism. The other ones may have a softer version.
I don't know any Israelite that doesn't believe that the other nations are going to be in captivity. There's some that believe we shouldn't be calling the white lady with the blonde hair a cave, cave dog when she walks by. But that's probably the only real dispute brothers have. How you should talk to the heathen when they walk by. What type of respect you should show to them, right? Or whether you should show them none at all. That's our real dispute. It's not whether y'all going to go into captivity or not. All of us believe y'all are going in even GOCC believes y'all are going into captivity.
And it's not just them.
They teach that you're going into captivity, but y'all get to, be there with us and stuff like that. You just got to know your place. They still teach you got to know your place. Yeah. Your place ain't equal to ours, right? So there's no Israelite that's an Israelite that actually believes what the Bible says and reads what the Bible says that doesn't think y'all are going to go into captivity. That's once again Vocab just talking out the side of his chipmunk cheeks.
Version, they may say, no, Gentiles can be included. They just have to know the proper place because there's a protocol and an order to the Most High. And so some Hebrew Israelites, if they watch this, will say Vocab is lying because I'm not. So some things are specific to one West here, but it gives.
Devil knows he's a liar. See that?
He's a person who's not endowed with the gospel, which entails forgiveness and all kinds of other virtues. It gives them.
Does the gospel entail forgiveness for them? It tells us to forgive our neighbor, right? Love your neighbor as yourself.
That's right.
Your neighbor in Leviticus, the law, where the whole loving your neighbor thing comes from, it's explained that that's the children of your people. Vocab ain't nobody related to me.
You want to get that?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. The book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 17, and it reads, Thou shalt not take thy brother, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord.
You see that? So the children of your people is your neighbor. That's what that is, right? So that's what we have to understand about that. That's that on that. The children of your people are your neighbor. That's who that is. If they're not your kinfolk, they're not your neighbor. You don't have to forgive them the same way that you forgive your people. The reason that was enacted is so that we're not walking around holding grudges against our people. It's going to be hard for us to gather together. If you're looking at the brother like, yo, you stole my money. I ain't finna do nothing with this nigga. Right? Or whatever the situation is. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we're supposed to forgive the children of our people. But our enemies, we ain't got to do that. They're enemies. God still says he hates Esau. Why we got to not hate Esau? If Paul could write in Romans, Esau have I hated, why am I not allowed to hate him too? Right? Didn't the Mashiach Yahushua tell us to be as our Father in heaven? So that's that.
A sense of comeuppance and revenge.
Nah, we ain't got to get that.
Okay.
And so there's actually an appeal to that. And so you'll see comments are like, I can't wait till we put him in chains. I can't, you'll get that kind of stuff from the more hard-edged guys. So it's ultimately an appeal to the flesh because it's hey, it's like the idolatry of ethnicity, perceived ethnicity.
That breaks my heart because not only does it give a rise to the flesh, but it also denies the beautiful ethnicity God gave them at birth, as if that's of less value.
Yes.
You see this?
Salakia.
Do you see the game that they're playing?
Yeah.
Now we're Israelites, even though we got Africans in West Africa that are in West Africa, where they say we came from, that are called Israelites and accepted as Israelites by the Jewish people. We're wrong for calling ourselves Israelites, and we're denying our ethnicity that our people who we came from in West Africa deny them damn selves right now in 2023. Come on, bro. Go ahead, Knock. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I love being who I am, always have, even in my ignorance of not knowing my genealogy and not knowing my history of our people. I never want to be them. So I don't know if I don't know if they hating. Well, it is. They are hating. I mean, of course, they hate us. So this is their way. But yeah, it's just crazy to me. We can't be what we want to be. They have to. It's like they have to. Unless they tell us who we are, then we're being fools for saying who we are. They have to.
Crazy? You know what's crazy?
Go ahead, Cap.
Vocab. I mean, Dwayne Wade's son could be a girl.
Damn.
But we can't be Israelites.
That's crazy right there. Y'all hear that?
You can change your whole gender, but you can't decide to accept or call yourself a nationality that the people America teaches you come from are claiming.
Right.
They teach we Igbos, we Africans, we Hamites, right?
Yeah.
But the people in the land of Ham that we come from aren't Hamites.
Nope.
They've been accepted as non-Hamites, Jewish people, right?
Isn't that crazy?
But we're not allowed to call ourselves Israelites. But Dwayne Wade's son ain't got to be his son no more. Right?
So where they have the laws to where even the how old is the boy? 14, 15 years old. I mean,
ain't even to it no more.
Yeah, me either. But that tells it all right there. We can do all that, but we can't claim who we are according to what the scriptures tell us.
Just thought about that. Thought that was messed up.
Wow.
Give me Luke 1:68.
Khan, the book of Luke, chapter 1 and verse 68, and it reads.
Hold on just a second. So Vocab was asked, why is it that our people are coming into this truth? Right? Main reason why is because we realize we need to be safe from our enemies. A lot of people wake up into the truth when they show black people getting killed on TV, which is why y'all realize they stopped doing it. They haven't done it in about 2 years now.
Part of Crafty Council.
Right?
It'll pick up.
Haven't done it in about 2 years because they saw, damn, I think we woke up some of these people.
Mm-hmm.
We made them look into the Bible to find out why so many of them is getting killed. And they ran into them Hebrew Israelite videos, them talking about that Zechariah 11:5.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we wasn't supposed to let them get in. Damn. You know what I'm saying? Don't show them no more niggas getting killed on TV.
Nope.
George Floyd gonna be the last one. Don't even talk about him no more. Right? They not showing you that stuff because it woke people up. I woke up around the time of Trayvon Martin. People woke up during the time of Michael Brown. People woke up after Eric Garner. People woke up after Philando Castile. People woke up after Icon Gurley. And we could go on and on and on. Right? People woke up after that. So now they're not going to show it on TV. People woke up after Ahmaud Arbery. Right? So it's all part of the Crafty Council. But this is the reason why. We need to be safe from our enemies. This is the main thing that's allowing us to wake up. People are realizing who we are in the situation we're in. They come across these videos. They see us on the street, whatever the situation might be. But the Most High is putting us in front of people. He's putting the truth in front of people for them to be able to realize what's really going on out here. Read that.
The book of Luke, chapter 1 and verse 68. Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people, and hath raised up an horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies.
You see that? So since the world began, right? Brothers known this how it was going to be. We're going to go off, right? We're going to get the covenant. We're going to go off from the covenant. Then we're going to get it back in blood, right? And when this happens, we save from our enemies, right? We're saved from them that hate us. Now we get to rule over them, right? With a rod of iron. That's the summary. Read it.
Con, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us.
Keep going.
To perform the mercy promised to our fathers and to remember his holy covenant, the oath which he sware to our father Abraham, that he would grant unto us that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear.
Damn.
In holiness and righteousness before him all the days of our life.
You see that? That's it on that. That's verse 75, right?
Con.
So, as you see, part of the point, and even Luke understood it, was for the Israelites to be saved from their enemies, not to go into the kingdom with them, not to walk into the kingdom with them, not to serve the Most High with them, to be saved from them so that we can rule over them. Right?
That's right.
Deuteronomy 7:6. We were placed above all people on the planet Earth.
That's
right. Jeremiah 17:4. We lost that position as the people above all people on the planet Earth.
Right.
Right? Baruch 2:30. We're going to take back that position. We remember who we are, right? Well, that's remember who we are. Daniel 7:18. We take back that position, right? And then we possess it and rule the kingdom forever and ever. That's the summary, right? So that's what they don't want us to do. That's what they don't want us to grasp a hold to. But unfortunately for them, that's what the Most High has really been making the basis of what's waking so many people up, right? We ain't waking up off of what Kanye said. It helped. We ain't waking up off of what Kyrie did, what he watched, what he tweeted, whatever it was, right? It helped. Can't do nothing against the truth, only for it.
God.
But everything that's going on in the last couple of years is what's caused a mass influx of people to wake up to this truth. The reason why in the last 5 years we've surpassed the Nation of Islam, who's been around forever. They got prominent leaders like Malcolm X and stuff, right? Farrakhan, right? Is because people are realizing this is indeed the truth. There's nothing that's come against this thing that's been able to prove it wrong when you actually look into it. Right? So I'm going to just leave that there. There's a bunch of prophecies we could get into, man, but a bunch of scriptures we could get into, but I'm going to let them talk for like 2 more seconds, and then we're going to go ahead and close it out.
Sometimes when I'm debating one of these guys, Rob, they'll say, so you're telling me I'm just an African? You know, it's like there's a devouing of what it would mean that if you could be described.
Give me, is it Romans 8:16? The Spirit beareth witness?
Yeah, I think so. Let me get
Just get that. Romans 8:16.
Book of
I
Romans.
think that's what it is. Because look, why is it that so many Black, Hispanic, Native American people feel like they're not just Black and Hispanic and Native American people? Why is it so many of us feel like we're different? Is that what it is? Not?
It must be.
All right.
I don't get it. I don't get it. But the book of Romans. Want me to get it or no?
Yeah. Go ahead. Get that.
Con. The book of Romans, chapter 8 and verse 16. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of God.
So look, the Spirit itself bears witness, the Holy Spirit, the set apart Spirit, bears witness with our spirit that we the children of the Most High.
God.
So when a cracker like Vocab tells us you're just a Hamite, it's the Spirit that's telling the brother, what? Just a Hamite? Nah, I can't be. Because your spirit been telling you this whole time you a king. You a prince. You a princess. You a leader, right? Your spirit's been telling you that since you was a little person. You always felt different than what they was trying to tell you were, which is why you woke up and you're like, okay, now I understand, right? Everybody don't have that feeling. It's a set apart thing. It's a Holy Spirit, right? But it bears witness that we are the children of God. Everybody's spirit don't do that, and they know that. So their goal is to try to make you feel bad for feeling that, feel weird for feeling that, right? What you mean you not just a Hamite? I'm just a white guy. Why you can't just be an African, right? That's how they want you to feel. They don't want you to realize you're different. You're the salt of the earth. That term exists for a reason. The salt of the earth. We give everything the flavor, right? So that's it, man. That's all I got for y'all. Give me Daniel chapter 7, verse 18.
Con. The book of Daniel.
Let's close it out on that. Thank y'all for staying. Like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for the classes we got throughout the rest of the week. You know what I'm saying? Get ready to come see us for Passover. It's gonna be lit. Go ahead, read that.
Go over what was the announcements for one more time for the Passover?
I'll do it a second. Let me finish that scripture.
Con. The book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
You see that, man?
Con.
So the saints of the Most High are going to take the kingdom. That's what Vocab and them don't want, right? And the way we're going to take it back is in blood. Read that Ezekiel, right? You ain't got to read it now. I'm just saying. For y'all to read it. But it's a bunch of scriptures. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Habakkuk, right? We got to cleanse the land with the blood of them that shed it, right? So that's what they don't want. And they're realizing that the more of us wake up, the closer we get to that time, right? So keep waking up, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Keep scaring them. Keep making them make these videos, because the more videos Vocab makes like this, the more people are waking up. You know what I'm saying? So hope y'all enjoyed the video. Like we said, like and share, subscribe to the channel. Y'all stay tuned for the rest of the classes we got going on the rest of the week. Go ahead and make your RSVPs for Passover, right? Hope y'all enjoying your Purim. Ashar Param, right? Paryam. So yeah, man, just stay tuned. We got a lot of things coming. Got a lot of good things in the works. Anointed House of Saints, your new camp on the block. So appreciate y'all support, and we'll see y'all next week.
And one more thing. Just to remind, I got a cap. Just to remind all those in the Atlanta area, if you want to come out and camp with us, we'll be out on the Shabbat, every Saturday at around 3 to 4 p.m. We will be on the corner of Moreland Avenue and Euclid, also known as Little 5 Points. So please come out if you are able to. We would love to have you. Anything else, Cap?
Nope. That's it, man. So hope y'all enjoyed the lesson. We'll see y'all next week.
Shalom.
Well, I guess Judah not here. So
This is not a test.
Black skin, black sauce, black Jesus, black music, black skin, black sauce, black Jesus, black music, black skin.